Hello, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to talk about public tender. Public tender is a formal and competitive procurement procedure throughout which offers are requested, received, and evaluated for the acquisition of goods, works, or services, and the corresponding contract is awarded to the bidder that offers the most advantageous proposal. The tender can be public or private, and can be international or local. The validity and effectiveness of administrative contracts is subject to compliance with the formalities required by current provisions. We can point out the following objectives or values of the tender. A. Competition. Its purpose is to ensure the participation of the largest number of qualified bidders so that the administrator can obtain the best conditions that the market can offer. B. Equality. Participants must be considered on an equal footing. It implies avoiding any type of preference or discrimination that favors or harms some to the detriment or benefit of others. C. Publicity and transparency must be present throughout the selection procedure and the execution of the contract. It is a guarantee for both the interested parties and the administrator. Only if the advertising is effective will it be possible to control the economic and financial activity of the administration. D. Due process. It is important that the regulation of the selection procedure is clear and understandable. All must have access to the steps, stages, and formalities of the process, and local legislation must provide the procedures that enable a broad discussion or disputes and allow bidders to challenge acts of the administration or third party, as well as defend themselves.
In Colombia, any person or company can participate in a public bidding process as long as it meets the requirement of the same. Each tender has a specific requirement that derives from the needs of the requesting entity, set out in the attached documents that accompany the tender announcement, but in general, there are basic requirements. A. Be registered with SECOP. B. To know about contracts with the state, what a public tender is stemmed by STEM procedure and its different modalities.
Requirements to bid national companies. Be registered in the Chamber of Commerce and have RUT, Registro Único Tributario Single Tax Register. Certifying up to date with parafiscals, have the accounting in order as indicated by law, have no disabilities or incompatibilities, be registered in the SECOP. These requirements are called enablers and measure the suitability of the bidder to participate in a procurement process. They are refined to their legal, financial, organizational capacity, and their experience. Requirements to bid foreign companies. Be registered as suppliers in SECOP 2. Above the rule, foreign suppliers without domiciling in Colombia are not required to have RUP, for which they must certify this information directly. On the other hand, it will be necessary to present to the Colombian state entities documents that prove in their country of origin their legal capacity, their financial capacity, and their organizational capacity, necessary to prove that you meet the qualifying requirements. Qualifying requirements. First, political capacity. Natural person. Presentation of a copy of their identification document, either the foreign's identity card or the passport. Legal person. Documents that prove their existence and formation in accordance with the regulation of their country of origin. Proxies and legal representatives. Foreign supplies may be represented by proxy or legal representatives, in which case the interesting party must prove that the person presenting the offer is legally employed to commit the interesting party. Present the corresponding document, whether it's a power of attorney or an appointment.
2. Experience of foreign bidder. It will be necessary to demonstrate experience in the supply of goods or services or in the execution of works similar to those of the tender. For this, the contracting entity may require any of the following documents: certificates issued by third parties, local or foreign, copy of contracts that prove the execution of the works, or the delivery of goods or services.
3. Financial capacity to present the financial estimates of the immediately previous year.
4. Organizational capacity. It is demonstrated by return on equity, the determines the capacity to generate operating profit for each peso invested in equity. Return on assets determines the capacity to generate operating profit for each peso invested in the asset.
Clarifications: foreign legal entities are not required to establish a branch in Colombia. To some bits, they are only required when they award works contracts, provisions of service, concessions, or any other contract that requires a constant presence in Colombia for this execution.
Public tender procedure in Colombia step by step. First, the Colombian state sees the need to acquire work, services, or goods, and for this a purchasing plan is created. Once the plan is approved, the entity performs the analysis of the economic sector of the buyers in order to carry out the preliminary study.
2. Within the business days prior to opening, review and clarification of the content of the draft of the specification can be requested.
3. The correct tender is published and the process of officiality being hit the final specification are attached here.
4. The entity conducts the assignment hearing, review, and at the request of future buyers. Their assistance will allow the department to clear preliminary doubts about the process, as well as to know the risks that the execution of the contract may have. 5. Interest parties submit their proposals, complying with all the requirements for a tender, at the place and before the appointment time, either physically or electronically at the SECOP.
6. The public entity begins the stage in which the qualifying requirements are verified, documents and necessary information are requested, and the scores of the submit offers are awarded.
7. The evaluation report is made available to the participants for a term of 5 business days so that they can pronounce on the aspects they consider pertinent.
The entity makes observations, precedent, and appointment to define the process in public. Hearing that will take place on the date and time established in the schedule.
9. The hearing is set up and the bidders can comment only once the answer given by the entity, without implying an opportunity to improve or modify the offer. 10. A winner is chosen and the bid is awarded.
Thank you.